Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for being here at Nissan Stadium. My name's Mike Keith. I'm the voice of the Tennessee Titans, and excited to have you at our home on what is such a big weekend for football. We all love Super Bowl weekend, and it only made sense that as we talk about the Super Bowl and we talk about Super Bowl Sunday, that we be here at Nissan Stadium. So welcome to all of you. The thing that I'm struck with from the places that I go, the people that I talk with, and my friends, is the way everybody's got a plan for Sunday. Everybody knows what they're going to eat in pregame. They know what their snacks are going to be. They know what the halftime meal's going to be. They know exactly where they're going to watch the game, what they're going to wear, who they're going to watch the game with. If your teams are involved, you're superstitious about it. Everybody has a plan, almost like a team has a game plan. And I think the thing that the Tennessee Titans and the Tennessee Highway Safety Office would like to get across today is add one more step to your plan. If you're going to drink, don't drive. And make the plan right now. 2 minutes today, 2 minutes tomorrow can make this so easy that as part of your plan, you figure out who the designated driver is going to be in your group. You download an app for a ride service. You get a number for a taxi service. Or you simply decide, I'm going to watch the game at my place. I'm going to stay at home. Because for all of us, that will make Super Bowl Sunday even better if you take the chance to add to your plan by one more step that takes 2 minutes, and make sure that if you're going to have an adult beverage, you act like an adult and you don't drink and drive. So these men and women who take such good care of us have an easier Sunday, and that all of us have a Super Bowl Sunday that can be as memorable as possible. And the Tennessee Titans want to make sure that everybody knows and that everybody stops to think about what they're going to do on Sunday. Take care of your plan. Take the extra step now. I'd like to welcome Director Vic Donahoe from the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, and he will be our next speaker.
I'd like to thank you all for being here today. It's an honor to be here at the Titans Stadium, Nissan Stadium, with the Titans representative. I'd like to thank the news media for being here. It is important for the media to be here to get our message out. I'd also like to thank the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security, the Tennessee Department of Transportation, the Tennessee Highway Patrol, and all the men and women in law enforcement, the Tennessee Sheriff's Association, and the Tennessee Chiefs of Police Association. I also want to thank Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Miss Millie, thank you for being here. My name is Vic Donahoe, and I'm the director of the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Today, we're surrounded by family and friends who have been impacted by impaired driving. Words do little to replace what's been taken from you. Our mission is to increase education and enforcement and prevent future tragedies and spare other families the grief you have experienced. Today, you will hear from Miss Luann Braunwalder. She is a young lady from Murfreesboro here to share her personal story. Our hope is that these stories will impact you and motivate you to find a sober ride this weekend if you've been partaking in adult beverages. One last thing, I would like to say a special thought and prayer for our friends from Metro, the officer that passed away yesterday, and his family. Please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. At this time, I'll introduce Miss Luann.
My name is Luann Braunwalder. I lost my brother Clifton 3 years ago when he was hit by an impaired driver. He was just 13 years old. On April 10th, 2014, my mom, Clifton, and I were on our way to a chastity talk at St. Cecilia when we had a tire blowout on the interstate. My mom just missed exit 66, but was able to pull over underneath Sam Ridley Bridge. My mom called my dad and explained the situation. He said he was on his way to help, and so don't change the tire. My mom told us that Daddy said not to change the tire, but Clifton told Mommy he could do it. When Clifton and I got out of the car, we realized how fast the cars were going. It was scary. My brother and I played with the scissor jack because we had never used one before. When Clifton finished changing the tire, I walked to the back of the car and put the stuff back into the trunk. My mom was standing behind Clifton, who was sitting on the ground, while I was behind the car. That's when the screeching started. I saw my mom and my brother get hit by the car. My mom fell, and Clifton was flung a considerable distance from the car. My mom was screaming as the car drove off. I ran over to check on Clifton. My mom was hurt, but she finally got to us. I ran to where my mom had fallen. I grabbed her phone and dialed 911. I was telling the operator my mom and my brother got hit by a car. When my dad pulled up and the 911 people asked me where I was, I replied, "I don't know," and handed the phone to my mom. My dad asked me, "What happened?" I told him, "Mommy and Clifton got hit by a car." He told me to go and call my sisters Amanda and Nicole. I went to my dad's car to get his phone, and when Monica, my little sister, was in the car, she asked me, "What happened?" I told her, "Mommy and Clifton were hit by a car, and they drove off." I kept trying to reach my older sisters, dialing them one at a time. Finally, my older sister Amanda picked up. When Amanda picked up, I became hysterical, and she asked me, "What's wrong?" I said, "Mommy and Clifton got hit by a car." She asked me, "What hospital are they taking them to?" I told her, "I don't know," as I took the phone to my mom. The paramedics and Daddy were with Clifton. The paramedics put Clifton on the stretcher and asked Mommy to ride in the ambulance with them. Daddy and I got into the Suburban and had to go to the next exit to turn around. Daddy asked, "Why did Mommy let Clifton change the tire?" I told him, "Clifton wanted to change the tire. He said he could do it." We were quiet until we got to the hospital. At the hospital, we waited in a little room, and my dad was able to get a hold of somebody to bring my sister Nicole from MTSU, and Amanda was on her way from Nashville. That's when the doctor came in and said that Clifton had passed. Later, my Uncle Bobby came from Nashville, and many of our friends came to the hospital that we knew from the dance studio, church, and from Mommy's work. Father Mark also came to pray with us. Since Clifton has died, it's been hard for me to sleep. Clifton and I would lie awake at night if we both couldn't sleep, and we would talk. I struggled to fall asleep at night without him to talk to. I started point dance this year. It's hard because he was going to be my partner. When we went to California, he wasn't there to fight over the back seat with, on the ride there and the ride back. He wasn't there to enjoy the sunsets with. I started horseback riding this year. It's hard knowing that Clifton will never get to watch me ride or challenge me to improve. My grandpa passed away this past Monday. Clifton wasn't there for me to cry on. Yes, I have my sisters, but I was really missing my older brother. I miss my brother shaking my bed to get me to wake up. I miss the way he asked me questions like I would know the answer. I miss doing schoolwork with him. I miss his laugh and his jokes. I miss watching him play football or helping him practice his snaps whenever he needed to practice. I miss him teaching me to throw and laughing when I got it right. This weekend, the Boy Scouts will be skiing. It was the last scout trip we went on. I see Clifton's friends, and it makes me wonder how tall he would be now. I turned 14 last March. I am older than my older brother. This upcoming year, I'll be learning to drive. I wish my brother was here to teach me, but my parents and older sister will have to do. If Clifton was here, he would be driving. It hurts that I will never be able to enjoy his driving or go places with him, just the two of us. That day, I woke up to a normal day, but it took a turn and ended with tears and heartbreak, all because someone made the choice to get into their car impaired. So please, if you are drinking or taking medications, get someone else to drive you to wherever you need to go. Thank you.
Now I introduce the next speaker, Commander of the Tennessee Highway Patrol, Colonel Tracy Trott.
Good morning. Obviously, all of us here in law enforcement wearing this uniform, doing the things that we do, we work for people like Luann. We work to keep this from happening to anyone else. And we'll be out in force this weekend, trying to keep those tragedies to a minimum. The Super Bowl has become such a big event in our country. It's like a national holiday. With that comes celebrations, parties, drinking, and driving, unfortunately. We will be doing our best to limit those drinking and driving accidents and crashes. We've been successful over the last 3 years in reducing the number of crashes, but the number of fatalities keeps rising, up to 8 last year during Super Bowl weekend. So the Tennessee Highway Patrol and all the local law enforcement that you see behind me, the sheriffs and the chiefs and all the local police departments, will have men out in force enforcing the DUI statutes, enforcing all the traffic laws, making sure people wear their seatbelts. 2 things kill people more than any other thing that happens on the roadways: impairment and not wearing your seatbelt. Last year, 25% impaired, 75% unrestrained for the Super Bowl weekend. So if I can tell you to do 2 things to protect yourself: wear your seatbelt all the time, don't drive impaired, and you'll most likely have a safe weekend. With that, I'll introduce the Commissioner of Safety and Homeland Security, a man that knows what we do and the importance of our job, especially this weekend, because he was a former state trooper, Commissioner David Perkey.
Wow. I mean, how do you follow this young lady's story? I'll be honest with you, if I was the media, I wouldn't pay a bit of attention in the world to what I had to say this morning. The story has already been told. I want to take just a couple of minutes before I introduce our Commissioner of Transportation and dedicate what I say to Officer Eric Mumau of the Metro Police Department. We have several Metro officers here. Obviously, we're in Davidson County. And guys and ladies, on behalf of my colleagues at the Tennessee Highway Patrol and the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, will be dedicated to you until the memorial service. So we'll have you on our minds. Many of you have heard me say before, 50 years ago, last August, a small boy in East Tennessee was awakened in the middle of the night by his mother and taken to a local emergency room. Upon arrival at the emergency room, I found that my 17-year-old brother had been killed in an accident by a drunk driver. I keep his picture behind my desk on my credenza. I have for my entire 36-year career to remind me of why I do what I do. So I would echo the Colonel's remarks and Mike Keith's remarks. It's very easy this weekend to stay safe. Plan ahead. Stay home. Decide who's going to drive you. The cab service and Uber is your friend, and I would encourage you to use it and use it effectively. You'll have a much better time this weekend and will not have to tell a story like this young lady told. It's my pleasure now to introduce one of my closest friends in the governor's cabinet. John Schroer is the Commissioner of Transportation for the state of Tennessee. He and I are former mayors, former elected officials, so we share a lot of background. And we have no greater partner, the Department of Safety and Homeland Security, than this man and his employees and what he does for us. So, John, come talk to us.
You're a brave young lady, and I know this will always affect you, but you're making a difference today, and you will continue to do that. So our heart goes out to you and your family, and I know this is not easy to do, and it's not hard to follow, not easy to follow that. I think usually I have something I'm supposed to say, and I think what I've got to say today is that these gentlemen that work every day out on our roads try to make life better for everybody that's traveling. Those that maybe their car broken down or in a fatality or in a wreck that they go on, and they put their lives in danger as well. And our people at TDOT, we've lost 3 employees this year due to not always impaired but reckless drivers. And we buried one about 4 weeks ago, and a young man, and it's always tough. And in Tennessee last year, we had 1,045 people that were killed on our highways. And I was kind of doing the math this morning because gave a speech about this, and so over 37,000 people died in the United States in car wrecks this year, or in 2016. And if you relate that to airplanes, that would account to about 150 airplane crashes every year in the United States. And I asked people, so if you knew that 150 airplane crashes would happen every year, would you ever fly again? And no one would, yet we drive every single day to do that. And a lot of people don't pay attention to it. They do drink and they drive. They do drive impaired. They do text while they're driving. They don't wear their seat belts. And the likelihood of them dying in a wreck is so much more than any other thing that may happen. And so I just hope that everyone pays attention to that. You are at risk every time you either ride in a car or step behind a wheel, and not because of what you're doing necessarily, but because of what's happening around you. And so, and we've got to work, and these people work every day to try to make sure that's happening. I'm just honored to be part of this. And so I'm also honored to introduce Terry Ash, who's the Executive Director of the Tennessee Sheriff's Association.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Luann, on behalf of the sheriffs in Tennessee, I wish we never had to hear another story like that. And I was 40 years of doing this. I want to tell you, I've had to meet a lot of young ladies like you, and young sons, mothers, dads, and I too admire you coming here today and speaking out. And on behalf of the sheriffs, to the Metropolitan Police Department, you know, being sheriff next door to Nashville for 30 years, you get a really good working relationship, and it's a great department, and the sheriffs are saddened by your loss, and anything we can do, we certainly want to do that. You know, it's an honor to really to not work with the Commissioner of Transportation and the Commissioner of Safety. It's more of an honor to partner with them. You know, when you partner with someone, you take ownership in the relationship, just like we partner with MAD and we partner with the media. And I won't say so much about all the drunk driving that goes on, because we're saddened by the heartache and the trauma that occurs and the lives that are ruined. And I won't repeat too much of stories I've told in the past, but I just think this moment, maybe there's somebody else that may hear my story that never heard it before, just in this room, if it never goes anywhere else. The toughest thing, and I know Commissioner Perky's done this too, the toughest thing that any of these men and women back here will have to do is go to the door of the home of a Luann and knock on that door at 2 o'clock in the morning and tell that family that they've lost a loved one to an impaired and drunk driver. You see, because that's an unexpected death. It's not like if you had a child doing something else. I mean, that's an unexpected moment. And of course, Commissioner Perky has lived through that. And I've had to deliver those messages. And I thought about what Mike said a while ago, and we do need a plan. So here's the sheriff's message to you about your plan. He gave great advice. Plan your day. Because if you don't plan your day well, you're either going to end up in an emergency room, or you're going to get a chance to meet one of the other sheriffs in the state of Tennessee who run the jails in this state. So if you don't want to spend the second quarter or the fourth quarter in a local facility called a county jail, then don't drive impaired. You better have a plan. Because these men and women behind us here, they've got a plan. We're going to do our best in a partnership to protect the citizens of this state during this great weekend that we want everybody to have a great time at. And not trying to put too solemn a moment on it, but those figures are staggering when we have that many people involved in accidents who are impaired. So on behalf of the sheriffs, we partner with our partners, and we will be out there in force trying to protect the citizens of this state. Thank you very much.